I love McConaughey. Damn, damn. What's up? I'm Chris Johnson. You are now tuned in to KJ Live. Today's guests on the show, two titans in the grassroots basketball industry, twins, legends, icons, if you will. Really good dudes, man. Two of my favorite people. I've known them for over 30 years. We're going to welcome in the legendary Pump Brothers. Dana and David are in the building. They've just sent the request. Let's get this thing started. You can't have the Pumps waiting, man. You know how the Pumps move, man. They got about 30 minutes with you out. Let's bring in David and Dana and chop it up about a few things. Let's see if we can get them in here. Oh yeah, how you guys doing?
Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, Christopher.
I'm great. I'm great now that I see you two, your beautiful faces. I mean, your beautiful smiles. You guys are looking amazing. Sorry I didn't put on a suit, David, but I have to be me now. I have to be me and do what I do. But guys, let's just jump into it, man. I know you guys don't have a lot of time. I know you guys are busy guys, man. But I just want to talk about the origins of our relationship and how we first met, if you will.
Chris, you were a fat, pudgy kid at Crenshaw High School, and you really were. I mean, you were 50 pounds overweight. You go to UCLA because of the history, the legacy, the family, and then you probably had one of the most amazing turnarounds. You went to your mother's house in Atlanta. You lost the 40 pounds. And I think one game at UCLA the next year, you had 40 or 50 points in a game.
36 against Cal, but thank you.
36.
But am I right about that, Chris?
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
I remember when you were probably 13 years old at Montclair Prep is the first time I met you. And you were playing there in Montclair Prep. And that was the first time I think I met you.
Yeah, so we have ties in the Valley. The Montclair Prep was in the Valley. It was a great prep school out in the Valley that I went to, 7th, 9th, and 10th grade. A lot of high-level people. My brother Josiah graduated from Montclair Prep. Guys, sticking with the Valley, you guys got into the game at 20 years old. Who brought you in? What was up with that, and why did you decide to go with basketball?
You know what? Basketball was always our love. And at an early age, Dana and I started a scouting service. And we went up to SUBSTACK camp before the Pumps were around. That was the big camp up in Santa Barbara.
Yep.
And the gentleman wouldn't let Dana and I be there. And so when we went back, Sonny Vaccaro, who was our early mentor, who did a lot for so many people, said, hey, Pumps, we'll start you guys a camp next year for yourself. So Dana and I had a camp, and it was at Cal Poly Pomona. And, from there, it all grew.
I'll tell you what about the pump camps early on. I mean, you guys had me involved in that when I was 16 years old. So when I was 16, my dad bought me a Camry, so I had a car. So you guys hired me as a counselor at 16 because I had the car. Because you guys
pay you?
Heck yeah, you paid me. You paid me good. But hey, you needed me to go pick up guys from the airport. So I'm picking up Jeff McGinnis and Mactar and all these freaking legends, dude. You guys don't understand, man. That's why I was able to kind of branch out and open my network, because I was hooking up with these legends from Oak Hill and all these big time ball players. But I just wanted to share that because you guys were the reason. And thank you for greasing my pockets a little bit, because I needed that cash back then. But guys, so you had your AAU team, you had your AAU program, you have the camps. Talk about some of the players that you've, had on your teams, and you guys over 1,000 scholarships or something over the years.
Man, I mean, we've planted so many seeds. I remember picking up Carlos Boozer as a young, naive kid from Alaska. The Mott's got a hold of him.
Yeah,
we never paid to go to camp after that.
You know what? When Dana and I 4 years ago got out of basketball, I think we left a great legacy, and it's for a new generation of people to continue that. But when Dana and I, Izzy Washington did an amazing job for so many people.
A real pioneer.
A real pioneer. And then I think Dana and I, we used to go down to Slam and Jam and see Tracy Murray and Mitchell Butler and all these guys. And then Dana and I had a great run doing it for 15 to 20 years.
And, we've seen so many, we've seen so many crazy parents. My kid's the next, or he's the next great one. The most prolific high school player, Tracy Murray, without
No
a doubt.
question.
I mean, people have no idea. He was shooting threes in ninth
Half
grade.
court. Half court.
But hold on. Without a doubt, Tracy Murray and John Williams. Because I just started, my dad would drive me in his Cadillac Eldorado, drop me off at the sports arena, and saw all these black people from Manual Arts. Now, be careful, boys. I'll pick you back up. Across the street at Murray's Tickets,
Yeah.
that's where we were. Now, we also saw the Balls. They were the Kardashians. They didn't play on any circuit besides the pump circuit.
I remember.
I saw it before it happened. Little ball, was just a little ball.
Remember they used to cherry pick? He used to sit.
Defense. What I'm saying is we've seen everything in front of us.
You know what? Like Dana said, it's sad because when we were really involved, the LA City schools, Crenshaw, Manual, Dorsey, unfortunately, Westchester and Fairfax still have a little hand in the best players.
Sure.
But all these kids are going to private schools now.
Yeah.
And it's very, very different. But, I loved, for the time we were involved, we felt like we helped so many kids. I think what we did is establish a platform. Mm-hmm. And if you came to the West Coast All-Star Camp, if you came to the Pump Discovery Shootout, if you came to the Best of the West,
our junior college,
anything, any pump event.
All those things were a platform, and coaches came. And
I miss the relationships. Like I remember Steve Lavin was a young kid working our camps back at Cal Poly Pomona.
Wow.
And Mark Godfrey, my camp at Campbell Hall.
Yes.
And it was Avondre Jones. It was Ed O'Bannon. It was Charles O'Bannon. And the seeds we plant. It's so great when I see people wherever I'm at, they'll come up and say, Dana, I came out of Lehigh or Lodi. I've been saying I came to your camp. I remember you and your brother met us. And those are what I miss.
Absolutely.
The college coaches, like the relationships we have in the game are amazing.
Yeah.
Somewhere on every staff, the footprint of the Pump brothers were there.
And what Dana just said, little fish become big fish. So many of today's superstar coaches, we go way back with. Mm-hmm. If it was Ben Hallen, when Ben and Jamie Dixon used to sleep on our floors when they were coaches, when Ben was at Santa Barbara and recruited my very good friend Gary Gray, or Jamie Dixon was an assistant with Dana at LA Valley College.
Wow.
So when Lorenzo Romar played for Athletes in Action, and we go back.
Frank Martin in South Carolina worked our tournaments in Florida.
Let me ask you guys this. So we talk about relationships. What do you think the key to your success with these relationships? Talk to the people about how you cultivate this stuff.
Doing what we say we're going to do, follow through with people and help people and plant the seed. And if you pay it forward, which we did a lot of times. I mean, I can just look at like Sky Garson, Jason Ludwig. Our seeds of guys are all over there. And who do I root for? I root for my friends. Mick Cronin worked our West Coast All-Star Camp.
Absolutely.
With Damon Flint and Bobby Brennan.
Damon Flint.
30 years ago.
Chris, today's age with social media has definitely changed. And, everyone wants to say, oh, we got an offer. It's all propaganda. It is all propaganda now. And it's a big hype. There's a lot of guys that just want to hype their kids up and so forth. And you know what? When we look back, the players we had today still in the NBA, we still have James Harden, Paul George, the Holidays, Klay Thompson, Spencer Dinwiddie. There's still some great players. And you know what? LA was fortunate. There were some great players because, the Compton Magic had a great team. There's some great teams. And
we were never going to own an NBA team. So when we were really hungry, we were really passionate. We go get the players.
Sure.
And I remember going to see this young boy at Bakersfield East, J.R. Henderson. Milton was the high school coach. And I remember the John Wooden Classic. J.R. hit both of those free throws.
2 free throws versus Kentucky.
J.R. is, I think, retired now. But, I mean, it was the relationship with Milton. He trusted us with his son. And, you know, and the Valley was loaded then. Jordan Farmer, Nick Jones.
And you know, we keep forgetting Gilbert Arenas.
Yeah.
You know, we found Gilbert when he was in ninth grade. And, you know, Gilbert was different. He wore track shoes playing basketball. You know, in a time in the NBA, he was one of the most, you know, exciting players in the NBA for 3 years.
Like you said, yeah.
And how about this? Mitchell Butler was a man, and he went with all these little white boys in Oakwood, and he stood out. Shea Cotton stood out.
And Dana and I went to Bel Air Prep that turned into Pacific Hills.
Yep.
And there's still a statue of the Pump
The
Brothers.
Bruins, Bel Air Prep Bruins.
Yes. And we'll never forget when we were a senior, there was a 7th grade game when we talk about it. And there was a young kid. And Dana and I said, "Who's that kid?" It was Mitchell Butler.
Wow.
And we'll never forget.
How about Jaron and Jason Collins?
Absolutely.
We were refereeing basketball games, outdoor courts, Sierra Canyon.
No question. So here, guys, let me reset this real quick. We're talking with the Pump Brothers. This is KJ Live. So you talk about JR. Let me give you an aside about JR. I just talked to him the other day. He will be appearing on the show in the next several weeks. He changed his name to JR Sakuragi, became a naturalized Japanese citizen, and is currently coaching in the Women's Professional League over there. So that's an amazing thing. And right, you're right about the 2 free throws versus Kentucky. But guys, moving forward, kind of. So after the illustrious career in the dominating the AAU game, you guys decided to transition out and do some other things. Talk about that and mainly why you decided to get out the game.
You know what? I think one of the reasons it ran its course. You know, when we were doing it. And
when we were doing it at a high level, there was no one else really. Mm-hmm. You know, Izzy retired. Rich Goldberg was out of the elite game. Mm-hmm. There was no Ryan Silvers. There was no other AAU. And Nike wasn't even in the. So we were very instrumental. We had a lot of influence. We were doing searches for college.
Sure.
And people looked at us with all this influence, like we had all this power. It's all about perception.
Yeah.
But like a funny story, and I'll get back to you. Billy Tubbs would call me every Monday. Yeah. Hey, Dana, it's Coach Tubbs. Did you vote for me? He thought we voted for the top 20. You know what David said? Let him think that. Hey, Coach Tubbs, I put you down. I think you're 17. So Billy Tubbs, like, those Pump Boys are powerful.
You guys are crazy.
I'll give you all
smoke and mirrors,
baby.
baby.
Another one. So UCLA, I tell the media UCLA is going to go to Philadelphia and play, and then it gets out. Pump Brothers say UCLA is going to be Dan Guerrero, and everyone's like, how do the Pump Brothers know before Jim Hill knew?
Wow.
Big deal. Like,
and you know what? I think, as Dana said, you know, it's ran its course. We were at a certain age for us to get young kids and so forth. And you know what? We just didn't have the energy. And through basketball has opened the doors to so many different things. You know, the legacy of our Harold and Carol Pump Foundation, starting an agency called the Pump Crew, and doing so many other things. And, you know, every day, you know, life is full of so many opportunities. And, you know, Dana and I are enjoying the real world as we speak. But you know what? We unfortunately don't really miss AAU baskmibasketball.
Okay.
It was a great run.
It was a great run. It was a grind.
Yeah.
But the relationships we miss.
Sure.
So I'm in Vegas Monday. I go through the Aria Hotel.
Yeah.
I see the Washington State staff. Kyle Smith worked for me as a little kid. You know,
crazy.
that whole staff. I go to the next thing. I see the whole Northridge staff.
Yeah, no question.
Jim Herrick, Coach Daré. So, real quick, this is a great story. So, Scott Pera, the coach at Artesia, tells me, "Hey, don't talk to James Harden until after the season." So naturally, Pat Barrett's chasing him and pissing off everyone. We go to Tony Romo's. We had one chance to get it done.
Sure.
I hired Jim Herrick to coach the team.
Yeah. Oh, that's that year.
Ed O'Bannon, associate head coach, who went to Artesia. and that's how James Harden played with the pump and run.
Wow, that's sick. That's a sick story. You guys got that. That team was a killer. Didn't Coach Eric only lose like 2 games or
Yeah.
one game in like, they're doing that run? Yeah, I
remember, like Larry Drew was a prolific high school player.
Oh, absolutely.
Jeremy Anderson was really, really good. The Wares were great college 4s and 5s. Tyler Honeycutt. But the Valley was loaded. I mean, we were just getting the Nick Youngs and the Jordan Farmers and Spencer Dilley,
the Gilbert Arenases,
Trevor Ariza.
Some hitters. Yep.
Oh, Trevor Ariza. I mean, he's still playing. I think he just retired, and he had a great career. And like I said from the beginning, we just had a great platform.
Yep.
Dana and I were always smart. We hired good coaches. And you know what? Whenever we played in Vegas, we were in the main court, and people always wanted to beat the pump and run team.
They hated us.
Yeah. and Chris,
I know Tracy's on this. I remember the one.
You guys forget, I coached for you guys.
They were up like 6, and we ended up winning with 10 seconds left. And everyone's, Phil Bryant always had his hands in there.
Phil. Shout out Phil Bryant, baby.
Yeah,
One of the nicest guys around, man.
Yeah.
So guys, the Harold and Carol Pump Foundation, talk about that.
So my dad dies 21 years ago. Mom dies 5 years ago. We've named it the Harold and Carol Pump Foundation at Northridge Hospital. We have 3 wings named after mother and father: Harold and Carol Pump Oncology, the Pump Family Infusion, and oncology centers named after mom and dad. We've given over 11 million given away to Northridge Hospital. And we still have a love and a passion. We're going to do it this year, the gala, August 20th. And that's been our passion. We never got into our family foundation, but it's really helped us with so many relationships, because our gala is the ESPYs on steroids, the BET Awards.
And you know what, Chris, last year, a bunch of the UCLA guys came, and it was just everyone that came, and, from Earl, there's so much history and love. And every time I see you or Tracy or Toby,
Matt Barnes,
it's just love, because we were there. And you know what? I forget Matt Barnes, and his 2 twins are going to be stars, and it was his birthday.
Absolutely.
Yesterday.
Yep. Happy
Matt's
birthday.
And Dana and I.
We never went to UCLA, but like when Ben was there, we definitely had a love for there.
Wait a minute. Let's go back to 1995 when we were in Seattle. I mean, you guys were. Come on, what are you guys talking about? UCLA. Come on, you guys been in there since day one.
Yeah, and you know what? It's great. Mitchell's and Toby have an agency, and on the way down here, I talked to Mario Chalmers' dad, Ronnie.
Oh, nice.
And we were it's just love to see everyone. Everyone, little fish become big fish, and it's great to see. And another guy who's done amazing is Omar Wilkes.
Oh yeah, shout out Omar, man.
Big love for Omar.
Clutch.
He calls me Mr. Pump still.
Yeah, he still calls us Mr. Pump.
He's always been so respectful, man. Omar's always been so respectful.
Yeah, and it's just great, through the foundation and so forth. Dana and I live close to Sierra Canyon, so when everything comes back to normal, we'll probably go see Sierra Canyon is the Crenshaw on steroids. Crenshaw was the most dominant program, but Sierra Canyon's a whole nother world.
Oh yeah.
And you know what? We'll probably go watch 1 or 2 games a year. But I think when we sit back and look, you know what? The Pump brothers left a great legacy. You know what? I think we helped a lot of people. When I think back and think of Reggie Morris, what a wonderful coach he was at Manual.
Yes, sir.
And I think, going to see Willie West here, 2 young kids going to Crenshaw.
2 white boys with red hair and Jewish that had hustle.
A different time, but it's respectable. It was respectable. When you guys open your mouth, you guys automatically, you get respect. People are rocking with you. Come on, it's David and Dana, man. Like, give me a break, right?
I know, but it was just, thinking about how Dana and I just would roll the sleeves down, and Kent Bennett at Manual. Manual. Yeah, I mean, it's just the love of LA City, and it's still, Harvey Catani and Ed Azam
for sure
are still
legends.
Are still keeping the legacy, because the funding in LA City schools aren't there anymore.
Sure.
And you know what? As I said earlier, I think Atobe has taken the torch and has done an amazing job. LA is being represented really, really well. And you know, there's some new people that will come into the
Sure.
game. But I think after COVID, things are going to change. I don't know what that's going to be, but I think a lot of things are going to start changing now.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just hope there's continue to be a great platform for these kids.
Something I want to ask you guys about, because I was doing research on you guys on the internet, so I'm finding videos of you guys doing interviews. And what I loved was, you know, you guys are now giving away the game, or not giving it away, but trying to help up and coming entrepreneurs understand how to make things happen out here. Like, you don't have to be some, you know, MBA from Wharton to be a, you know, a millionaire, basically. Dana, my question to you, you talked about the book, The Rainmaker. I kind of just want to just dive into that. What is The Rainmaker? What does that mean? And how do you apply some
Someone
principles?
that makes rain. So we're writing our book right now. It's going to be 2 boys, 1 ball, 1 dream.
Oh, nice.
And we're going to tell our stories. So it was 20 years of our foundation. How do we honor Denzel? How do we get Hank Aaron? So, or how do we get Muhammad Ali? So that was the 10th
How? But how?
anniversary.
Tell me how you got
Okay.
Muhammad Ali.
So
Just
Lonnie
one story.
Ali, Layla, I called her 100 times. She said, call my stepmom. She'll talk to you. So I called Lonnie. I said, she goes, we're in Phoenix. I said, Dave and I will be there tomorrow. We're going to fly up there. So we get on a flight Southwest. We go there. We meet them at Houston's in Arizona, Scottsdale. And we get to the table. It's Muhammad Ali, it's Lonnie, and the Pump Boys. And Lonnie looks at us and says, Muhammad, those are some cute boys. I said, David, I got this one. Ladies never told us we were cute, right? But she's freckled. And so I said, hey, you know, we'd love to honor. This is even more funny. She goes, Muhammad, I'd like to know who else are you going to honor? And I said, without just looking, said Hank Aaron and Denzel Washington. She goes, wow. We walked outside the restaurant. David looked at me. We haven't even talked to those guys yet. But we got it done.
Sell it, baby. Yep.
And we got it done. And you know what? Like 2 years ago, we honored Shaquille O'Neal.
Yes.
And there's a story with everyone. And pre 9/11, Dana sat next to Shaquille when he was a college freshman. He declared. The coach at LSU, Dale Brown, gave Dana, gave his two seats next to him, and Dana had 2 seats.
George Raveling gave me his seats. They were next to Dale Brown.
And this is Monday. This is Monday's Final Four game.
Yeah.
Next morning, he flies to Los Angeles.
First flight out
for the Wooden Awards. I'm at the airport picking up a team from New Orleans to come to the Pump Discovery. Shaq comes off the plane and says, man, how did you beat me here? I'm like, Shaq, I'm Dana's twin brother. Oh my God.
He thought you were Dana. Yeah. He thought you. Come on, man. Come on.
And through like our AAU team, that's how we met Denzel.
Okay.
Malcolm played on our AAU team, and that's where we built a relationship. And I remember calling Pauletta, and she would say, Denzel, just tell those boys you're going to be accepted at their foundation. Take the award, and that's the relationship.
And you know what? It's funny, like, you know, when I see James, you know, Paul George is probably the greatest story that would I think our platform, because 2 years ago there's an article, and Paul showed Dana and I much love that, you know, we went to Palmdale and found him, and we provided a platform. Paul did the rest, and
just giving him an opportunity because
sure.
he was out there. You know, didn't get. You know, he played like if you were playing on a team, they were playing in not the main gym. You know, the pumps. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And but that's a great story with Paul, and he gives us a real love to us.
And David, I had a question for you, just as far as, you know, you guys are talking about all these relationships, business advice to young entrepreneurs coming up, as far as the power of networking. How should they approach it if they don't have any resources?
You know what, like Dana always says, if you don't ask, you don't know. So people got to get off the fear and ask. That's number one. And try to surround yourself with good people and have a mentor base that you can always go to and so
get
forth.
People to empower you at that upper level. We had a great, we always had really good people. You know, Phil and Jan did a great job with, you know, but what me and David did, I remember in the camp business, we'd wait when parents drop off their kids, we were grabbing the bags. And Dave and I always said, it's the first 10 seconds, the impression. Boy, the Pump Boys are out there greeting us.
Yeah.
And that was like a touch to us. Like,
and you know, we'll just remember when I close my eyes and think about the West Coast All-Star Camp and think about some of the All-Star games, or thinking about Loyola Marymount for the best of the West, and I'll never forget, Klay Thompson. I'll never forget going down to Santa Margarita to go in to see him play, and he reminded me of a young Kiki Vanderway, and I just love him. And every time I see Klay, hi, Mr. Pump.
And like the tournament we started with Sonny, the big time, that had Kobe, Tracy McGrady, Melo. They all played in our tournaments.
Yeah. Talk about Kobe a little bit. I know you guys had, a relationship. I just let the people know.
I worked for Arntelem. I went to his high school senior game with Bruiser Flint. I walked and said, Brew, let's get out of here at half. I said, this guy better go to college. Little did I know. Okay. Then I'm working for Arntelem. I pick up Kobe, Joe, and his mom. First, their flight to LA. I go to the Rosecrans Marriott. I put up Kobe. Then he comes back in July. I drop him off. He says, I'm coming to your camp to speak in the morning. I want you to pick me up to get a workout with Noel Bloom. Be here at 5. I showed up at 5:20. He looked at me. Don't you ever be late again, Mom. I knew a 17-year-old kid was different.
He was 17. You said that?
How many 17-year-old kids are downstairs at 5 o'clock waiting for you?
No,
none.
And he worked with Dave Hopla, and over the years when we would see him, it was love. But he was a special person, and
I see Reggie Morris is on here. To us, his dad giving us the okay to have Charlo Davis and Cam play with us, that was a big deal. Going to LA, and Reggie was like the first guy that gave us real love. And let us have those kids, because remember the Watch Magicians were real powerful.
Oh yeah.
And it was hard for us to be. We always said it, the way we're going to get kids is relationships.
Yeah.
And and you got to follow through with different people.
Sure. Yeah, and you know what, Reggie and Morris.
So Reggie Jr. played in our camps and everything, and he's done a great job with Fairfax. But that was a big deal when Reggie Morris gave us love, and that opened up the doors for other LA coaches.
That was amazing, man.
Who was the big kid from Dorsey that played with the Globetrotters?
James Bacon.
Okay. No, I remember that era, man. That was a great golden era of high school basketball in the city of Los Angeles.
And the other coach was Randolph Simpson. Well, Randolph and Reggie.
Manuel.
Manuel. And, we had some early Crenshaw kids, but that was a different era. The city basketball was.
I think Danny Griffin's still playing now.
Well, Danny owned a couple of wing stops or something, man. He was in the business game. I hear from him from time to time, man.
Yeah.
But guys, one more question for you, and then I'll let you go. Just talk about, some traits that you inherited from your parents. I mean, you guys are obviously special people. This couldn't have happened by accident. I just want to hear about what mom and dad really meant to you guys.
Carol was a killer. Carol was Dana, and Harold was David, without a doubt. But what makes the Pumps great is Dana and David as a team. And David's more of a passive personality, and I'm more the aggressive one.
Well,
David, you have anything to say on that?
You know what? I think Dana and everyone has different traits, and we work off each other's pretty well, frickin' frack. And you know what? As we move on to a different chapter in our life, we look back with basketball, much love, and a little bit of me misses it.
Yeah.
But it's great, when we run into so many people. Anyone in basketball in a 20-year period knew the Pump Brothers.
But we're coming back. We're working on kids, and that Pump and Run is about to come back soon.
Uh-oh.
2042.
Oh, yeah, we're back.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we're coming back.
Yeah.
Well, I can't wait for that. But, guys, I just want to tell you guys, man, thank you for just the influence and mentorship you provided me for since I was 12, 13, 14 years old. I've always held you guys in high regard, the highest of esteem. Through high school, college, and then you guys gave me the opportunity to coach for Pump and Run when my son was coming along. And I want to tell you, that meant the world to me. You can understand how much that meant to me. So I just want to thank you guys for what you have done and what you continue to do. Ladies and gentlemen, the legendary Pump Brothers, we appreciate you. All right,
Love you,
guys?
Chris.
Thank you.
Thank
All right,
buddy.
love you guys. Talk to you
Love you,
later.
buddy.
Bye.